Most founders think that they're overwhelmed because they're doing too much work. But what if the real problem is that they're carrying too much responsibility? So today's podcast guest is Jason Henneberry. He is the creator of Dependency Design and the author of Why Your Business Won't Let You Go. He helps founder led companies uncover where pressure is actually settling inside their organization. And in our conversation today, we'll explore why growth often makes businesses feel heavier, how dependency quietly forms, and what leaders can do to help build strength without breaking what already works. Enjoy the episode. Welcome to your Profitable Law Firm podcast. I'm Kelly Brubaker, your dedicated host, passionate about empowering law firm owners. Let's dive into the hidden strategies that lead to overflowing profits, scaled growth, and thriving lives. And this is where overwhelm transforms into confidence, enabling you to create and enjoy your dream firm and your dream life. So, Jason, you say that most founders are not overworked, but they're just carrying consequences. So, what would that actually look like? So, our audience is law firm owners, and so what does consequence look like inside of a law firm on a day to day basis?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I grew up in the real estate finance space, so I have a few businesses on that side of the balance sheet. We do a lot of work with law firms. I think I could probably take it up just even a level higher. I think a consequence is the weight of the business. I think most founders end up doing a really good job, and we kind of build the business forward. You know, you're like, okay, what's the next thing I need to do? I brought in some revenue. Now I need to fulfill on that. And now I've got good processes. I should hire some people and get them to do the work. And so we tend to build our businesses forward. But what happens is we become the hero of the business. So we end up solving problems, and the business learns to rely on us. So when there's an important decision, maybe revenue's at risk, an important client is potentially walking out the door, we tend to step in to fix that problem. And the more we do that, the more the business relies on us. So even though the business is growing and successful, the more it grows, the more successful it becomes, the more weight we feel. Even if we've got great processes, great people, that the risk, the consequence, the important decisions, they still land on us as founders. And that can be heavy.
I mean, it's just personal. I mean, no matter how you cut it, I mean, because I know what I struggle with in my accounting firm, and every decision is just so personal to me. And I know I'm the worst offender. Like I impede my own growth. I know I'm the worst at it, but no, and all of that makes sense to me. I can appreciate all of that. So, so let me ask this, because I know this, because I experience this every day, just about. So why does growth so often increase pressure instead of reducing it? So even, revenue's going up, because I will often have people that come to me and they're like, lawyer comes in and says, "Oh my God, I'm trying to increase my revenue. I'm at 1 million. I want to hit 2 million. I just can't do it." But every day seems like every day I get closer to two, like I'm trying to get to 2 million, and it just is worse and worse. Like I just feel
Yeah.
like it's not worth it. So like why does growth increase the pressure?
So we've all done that. And the reason that I'm so passionate about this work is because I've put myself exactly there so many times in my businesses, where you're focused on the goal, the growth, the momentum, whatever it is the objective that you're trying to achieve, and the growth. The reason that growth increases pressure, it's like we feel as founders that, well, if I'm overwhelmed, I'll add more people, I'll add more systems, I'll add more processes, and that works for a short period of time. So those things are basically like they add more power to the engine, essentially. So think of like a boat. If you're flying down the river in a boat, and something, there's a hole in the hull, you can lean over and you can plug the hole a little bit.
Okay.
So that's like,
Okay.
I don't know, putting a system in place or a process in place. Maybe you add more crew, so more people. So all of those things, everything you add to the business, it actually it strengthens the business to the point where like it has more power. It can go faster through the water. But
Yeah.
you haven't actually John, you haven't really strengthened the business in terms of its capacity to hold important decisions, the weight of the risk of the consequence without you as the founder stepping in those important moments. And so when there's more power and you really feel that it like those important things just hit you harder as a founder. And so you can have a really good business and it can be working really well, but the weight increases as you go, unless you design for outcome, unless you take a different approach in how you build your business.
No, and that all makes sense. I mean, because you're right, because it's you see the next couple steps in front of you, and you're trying to move forward. So no, that definitely, I like that analogy with the boat. It does make sense. So you talk about dependency that it's in a very different way than how other people talk about dependency. So how do you define dependency in the business world as a business founder?
Okay, so dependency is not a bad thing. Every business depends on something. You depend on, this founder dependency, people dependency, system dependency. You have leverage like dependency on referral partners or things that will help grow the business that are outside of your control. So the dependency itself is not the issue. The
Okay.
issue is that as founders, like when we start, we're typically alone. We're solo operators, and we've
Right.
all kind of built our business this way. I'm not talking about big business. I'm talking about solo operators who end up building a team around them, and then that team grows, and maybe they have other people that they're responsible for. So we at initially we are the business. We're everything. So we are responsible for driving revenue. We're responsible for client fulfillment. We're responsible for all of the aspects of the business. And but then you get busy, and then maybe you hire someone and you bring someone into that. And what we do as founders is it's actually very easy, and most of us are pretty good at task delegation. So handing off work is not the problem. It's handing off the responsibility, the ownership, the accountability around the work. That's a little harder to do. And that is so dependency design is not around eliminating dependency. It's around designing what parts of the business actually carry the weight of the business, and
Okay.
and having a process in place for transitioning the weight and the responsibility away from the founder into those specific parts. So it's not that you don't want the business to depend on you, it's that you want the business to depend on you in exactly the way that you've designed it to, and no other way.
And I like that because I know, I mean, because I'm going through this right now. I'm growing my firm and I've hired some staff. And the first couple people I hired, they were like, they're more of a drag on me. I hate to say that publicly, but it was like the constant asking me questions. Is this okay? How do I do this? How does that work? If I do this, does that happen? And I'm sitting here thinking, I hired you to do that, do the job, just do it.
Okay. Yeah. We're getting
And
into
so
it, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. And I appreciate that you threw that in the space. I think we've all done that. I joke around that I had
right.
9 assistants. It's like, okay, I hired you. You should just figure this out.
Right.
Um, I- yeah, I think we can all relate to that. Uh,
Oh my
so
god.
so there's something that happens there. So there's so we tend to build our businesses forward. We talked about that a second. So we had a goal. We're like, I want to double my business, yeah, or whatever. I want to hit 2 million in revenue, whatever that is. So there's another way to dependency design takes a different approach. We don't focus on goals. We're not growth oriented. We're the objective, or the business objectives that we set out, is like you measure success in terms of how the business can rely on you less, or what parts of the business can you actually hand off in a way that they don't come back when
Yeah.
pressure increases. So what's happening there with that sort of situation is you've put someone in a role, and you've kind of said like, look, you're now this person for the business, and they either lack clarity,
Okay.
or they lack capacity, or they lack commitment. And so
Okay.
this is the 3 C's. And clarity is just around really getting clear for them around, what outcomes they're responsible for, and then giving them the power to deliver on that. And then capacity is, can they do the job in the first place? So, that happens sometimes. You put someone in there, for whatever reason, doesn't have the capacity to fulfill in that role. And then
Yeah.
commitment is something that is, it has to do with alignment. And oftentimes you get into like compensation, if you hire someone that's
Right.
for revenue, but you're paying them by the hour, there's a misalignment there. So and there's a process that you can go through to be like, okay, what do I actually have here? Do I have a clarity issue around the role? Do I have a capacity issue, or do I have a commitment issue? And if you go through that process and you get to the end and you're like, yes, 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 like check, 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 you might have to consider replacing the person. You might have another issue.
No, but it's just such a gamble. Like you hire somebody and it's just such a gamble. And I struggle because I know people in my life that have nothing to do with work in my personal life that are looking for jobs. And then and they'll like lean on me and like, oh, woe is me. I can't find a job, blah, blah, blah. And then as an employer, I'm sitting here thinking, well, you got to be able to do the job. And like, there's things like you have to be able to check certain boxes. And I struggle, but so I guess let me ask you this. Okay, so I do like the idea about dependency because you're right. Because I've always thought I've gotten to the point where I want to grow my business to where I am not dependent upon. But you're right. Like the business, no matter what's going to depend on me for something. Okay. But is there a difference between like I'm going to choose dependency, like I'm going to choose and lay out like this has to be dependent, this thing has to be dependent on this thing, has to be dependent on this thing. Is there something like maybe accidental dependency, like somehow
Yeah,
you create a loop where like it's not functioning correctly? Does that make sense?
100%. So you just landed
Okay.
on it. Most of us as entrepreneurs, we end up in dependency by default. It's not our fault. It's just the default. And
Okay. Okay.
dependency design is just dependency by design. So we already know dependency, the business has to depend on something. It's going to depend on the founder, the people, the systems, the processes, like that. So it's around most of us end up in a situation where the business depends on us as a founder by default across all the important departments. And
Okay.
what we're trying to do is just shift that to doing it by design. And so the first thing that you need to do is see that clearly. And once you see it, even though you haven't fixed it, the business can already feel lighter. It's just like, oh, okay, I see it for the first time. Like I see what I'm doing. So one of the things that business owners do that is problematic or that causes the dependency by default is that we tend to just fix the problem too fast
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
other people.
I'm guilty.
We all are. So your team that you're talking about, right? And that you
Yeah.
hire, and they have a question, or something comes up that they weren't expecting, and they come
Yeah.
to you. And as founders, we're often really busy. We're like, we're holding the weight for the whole business. And so we're like, wow, I don't really have the time to show you that. Or it's a really important thing that just came up. Like we can't let that file fall apart, or that client is at risk of leaving. So there's risk in that, whatever that is, that problem is. So we step in as founders and we just fix the problem. Well, what happens is the business learns that we are the system, and that's what we do all day long. And initially, when you're a solo operator, that works. Like often that behavior is the thing that made you successful in the first place. It's the thing that got you to $1 million in revenue, right? It's like, yeah, I step in, I solve, I'm bringing in the revenue, I'm fixing the clients, I'm fulfilling, I'm doing all these things. But if we want to go from 1 million to 2 million, we have to take a different approach, and we have to stop rescuing the business. And that is a very difficult thing for us to learn and
Right.
to hold back on, because
Hardest thing. Yeah. It's definitely the hardest thing for me because I just want to be like, forget it. I'll just do it.
forget it, I'll just
And
do
I
it. Yeah.
and I know better. I know better. So,
It
okay,
feels
so let's
risky,
put
but
it
the alternative is
right.
riskier because eventually you're like, and that works at $1 million in revenue, but at million
Right.
five, it starts to feel like too much pressure. And
Yeah.
then you're like, I can't hit that 2 million mark or whatever it is. So the consequence of always rescuing the business and rescuing the people
Yeah.
is that you'll never break through that ceiling and whatever that ceiling
Yeah.
is for you. Yeah.
And I agree. I mean, well, and then I think about it this way too. Like, if I'm always the go-to, the default, I'm always fixing everything. That how would I ever take vacation? Because I'll tell you, I don't take vacation that often. And when I have, it's been I feel like I have to hide and just like scurry away for like 3 days, which is really sad. But then I see other people who are like, oh, I just, I spent 3 weeks in Europe. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing wrong? Oh my god. So, I mean, my ultimate goal would be able to, be able to take a couple weeks off and not have to worry and come back to a business that survived, right? So how do we set that up?
Okay. Well, if the first thing I'd recommend is don't just take 2 weeks off because absence also doesn't solve the problem. So what we want to do is we want to build capacity in our business and our teams. And whether that dependency can be a system, it can be a process, it can also be a person, right? And so you want to you want to build capacity across those dependencies, like the person dependency or the system dependency, and you want to do it gradually over time. It's like building a muscle. So let's say you have a team member, someone that is there that would be the person that's kind of carrying the load while you're away.
Right. Right.
So so you can set an outcome for yourself. Like my business runs without me for 2 weeks at a time or something like that.
Okay.
Whatever that objective is. Well, that business needs to run for 24 hours without you first, right? And so, you can, and then you might have revenue decisions. You might have like fulfillment decisions, as an example. There's more buckets than that,
Right.
but like a revenue, the being responsible for revenue is like, okay, I bring in sales. I'm networking. I'm driving, doing all those activities that bring in the next client, the next piece of revenue. Fulfillment is okay. Now I have a client and we're delivering on that promise essentially, right? So
Right.
that's an example of two different buckets. So if you're going to step away for 2 weeks, well, what happens if you step away? Does revenue go to zero? What happens to fulfillment? So you can start like um, compartmentalizing your business,
Okay.
and then you
Okay.
get granular with it because that's a big goal to be like, I step away for 2 weeks. Well, my first question is, well, what happens? Like if you step away for 2 weeks, does revenue go to zero? Is that a problem? What happens to fulfillment? Is that a problem? What happens if everything's running smoothly? Maybe you can step away. What happens if there's a critical decision or something unexpected happens? So you want to compartmentalize your business, and then you look at like how it runs smoothly, and then what happens when things are not smooth, and you want to have all of that taken care of. And it's and
Okay.
it, you're so you're gradually handing off that responsibility to the person, the system, or the process in a way that you're like building their capacity to handle all those eventualities in that particular container, essentially.
Right.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
It does no, and it does make sense. And I guess I want to emphasize the part because I like the idea of defining responsibility. So I guess like on the inverse side, what happens when we start to set up processes and we're delegating tasks and if we do not shift the responsibility, I mean, we're just going to end up adding chaos, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you've got to shift that responsibility. I guess I just want to like emphasize, maybe like underline bold exclamation points, little emojis all over that. Like you have to shift the responsibility or everything's still coming back to you, right?
Correct. And that is the hard work. And it's really easy to do task assignment. It's harder to do responsibility assignment. And
Okay.
so this
Okay.
this is the work. And most founders are naturally good at creating more momentum in their business and task delegation. And there's 1,000 books on task delegation. There's not a lot of content out there around responsibility and accountability delegation. It's much harder, and it's it's the work that I'm doing, and I'd be lying to you if I have it fully figured out. I got, you know, I have a mature. I'm lucky. I have a mature business. I've been through it. I've sort of found my way to a place where we have roughly around 600 mortgage agents in our company across the country.
Wow.
It's
Right.
great. It's a good business. Really grateful for it. And I have my teams around me, and I've got really good people around me. But there are still parts of the business that, for whatever reason, I can't seem to not be the thing that the business comes to.
Right.
So I'm very, at the phase of my career, I'm very interested in trying to figure that out for myself, which is why I'm doing this work in the first place. So
Right.
I don't have all the answers, but you've landed on the thing, which is it's easy to
Okay.
give someone the work. It's a lot harder to make sure they're responsible for it and accountable for it and can handle it when things don't go to plan.
Right. And I think, and it comes back to, because as a business owner, it's so personal for us, like to create a business and then be the one in charge. It's just so personal. Like everything I do is personal for me, no matter how much I try to tell myself, because I'm an emotional wreck most days. You're getting the good version of me today because we're on.
Well, I'm glad I'm getting the good version. We're doing okay so far.
But I mean, I have my days where I'm just like, oh my God, every single decision is heavy. It's personal. And I keep having to tell myself, like, the little voice in my head is like, it's not personal. People are doing what's best for them. It has nothing to do with me. It's just, can I help them or can I not help them? Because I'll be on, 3 sales calls and none of them hire me. And then I get all depressed, like, oh, this really sucks. And, because it's just personal. But then I'm like, no, 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 I just wasn't the best person for that person. Or I couldn't fix whatever their problem was. I mean, because I struggle because I'm a fractional CFO for law firms. And so I struggle with everything in a business ties back to money. But yet, do I really want to be involved in sales? No. I'm not a salesperson. I'm not good with sales. So I can't really help clients with their sales problem. But and there's people that can, and there's people with marketing and all these other things, but yet I still have to be part of the conversation because it comes back to money, because it's how much marketing can I afford? How much, can I pay a salesperson? So somehow I'm tied into all these things, but yet it's hard for me, like, where do I draw the boundary line, right? Um, so I don't, it's just kind of crazy. Like, again, it just comes back to a lot of this stuff is personal, as a business owner, no matter, and I don't see it. I mean, I have firms that are multi-million dollars in revenue, clients, and everything's still personal. And so, like, I think that's just where I struggle. I struggle with letting go, like, with the responsibility part. So I just know that that's just very hard. So,
I get that. Yeah,
yeah,
because business is personal. That whole expression is it's not personal, it's business. It is. It's
right,
like,
right,
especially in our business. I feel the same way. We have a lot of people around us. I just mentioned, like, as much as technology and there there's this push on the planet for automation technology, whatever it is, and it's affecting every single business. But I look at our business and I'm like, yeah, those things are happening, but we are very much a people business. It's still very much a personal business. And
yeah,
I think business is personal to some extent. Now, if you can get clear on the outcomes for your business, and then you might be able to see some parts of your business a little bit differently, and that might alleviate
right.
some of the weight of it. But I don't think that personal feeling goes away entirely. You're a
I
part of
don't I don't think it does either. Which which I guess is good because it makes you more accountable, but I don't know. So, okay, so let's talk through. So, okay, so we've talked about a lot of different things. So let's picture, we've gotten to a point where we've put the systems and the processes in place, and we've delegated tasks. People, we've let go some of that responsibility. We've kind of pushed off responsibility to the right people. But is there a point where things might be breaking? And so, like, what if, like, what if I get to a point where everything's working, it's all great, but there might be silent, like, something, a bottleneck, I'm creating something. Like, do you
yeah.
ever see that where things look like they're okay? Like, you're like, "Oh, I finally did it." And then it's not really like there is something
So,
that's kind
so
of
earlier I
like,
mentioned the three C's, right? Do you have clarity over the role or what the outcome is? And do you have do you have capacity to support that outcome? And then the other one, wow, I'm even drawing a blank on my own. Or do you have the commitment, this person who,
yeah,
so there's a fourth part. So we made a joke earlier. I'm like, if you get through those three C's and you're yes, yes,
like,
yes, you might have to fire the person or whatever. You might have to consider the person
right,
who. There's a fourth one, which is the hidden, like we have to look at ourselves first and be like, what am I inadvertently doing that's causing that department, role, function, or outcome to still be dependent on me? What am I not seeing? And oftentimes there are things that we're doing that are quietly causing this dependency. And it's a little bit harder to see. But
okay,
there's a process that you can follow. So I'll take us through like a little exercise. An example of a business that we already know that as small business owners, we don't do a very good job at designing for outcome because we just kind of build forward. We're solving problems as they arise, and we end up building the parts of our business around those problems. We're just fixing things and growing. And
right,
all of us do that. But designing a business for outcome starts with the outcome in mind first. So it's almost like design backwards. So you feel your way forward every day, and that doesn't go away. But you want to design backwards. You want to design for outcomes.
okay,
And an example of a business that designs for outcomes is an airline, right? Airlines don't go, hey, there's a lot of people that want to travel, so let's give them a booking portal. Let's create a way, for them to book travel. And oh, it looks like they all want to go somewhere nice and tropical. So how do we get them there? Well, we should probably buy a plane. So you know what I mean? Like they don't build
right,
for, they build
right,
with in mind. They're like, everybody gets to their destination safely. That's the outcome.
okay,
That's like the plane always lands as an outcome. And then they
right,
build backwards. Well, what needs to be in place for the plane to always land? Well, checks and balances. And so everything right to the very beginning where you book your travel, everything is designed around getting you to your destination safely. And so it's less about the process. Like they're not trying to build the process forward. It's what needs to be in place so that this happens for sure 100% of the time, always. And
yeah,
so in our business, let's pick on fulfillment as an example, client fulfillment, right? I don't know exactly what your business looks like, but you might have a part of your
right,
business. It's like the client files or clients are updated on the progress of their file every Friday by noon, something like that,
okay,
right?
okay,
That doesn't tell you how. That's the outcome. So you design an outcome for you, which is every Friday at noon, all clients get an update on the progress of their file, whatever. And so that's something that must reliably happen without you as the founder. So so you're getting clear on what must reliably happen without you and by when. And so that's the clarity part. You're defining the outcome. And then you look at what's going to hold that outcome. Is it a system? Is it a process? Is it a person? Right. So birthday greetings, birthday cards go or like birthday emails go out 24
yeah,
hours before everybody's birthday. That can be a system. That's a system dependency. Like you put
okay,
the birthday in the system and the system just fires. Like you don't need a person to other than
right.
inputting the birthday. So you can have things in your business that are system dependent, that are process dependent, that are people dependent. But first you got to get clear on what it is you're trying to achieve. And it's
Yeah.
not the process itself. It's the outcome that you're trying to design for.
No, and I like that. I mean, definitely reframing because you're right. I'm constantly looking for the next day, the next hour, the next day, the next week, building forward. You're right. It's the end in mind and work backwards. And I definitely like the analogy of a plane, you're right, because you're right. I start with the airline as a customer with
Yeah.
the portal. I need to find my flights. I'm going somewhere I need to go. But you're right. They didn't build the flight path for me. It just happened that 200 of my closest friends are gonna go on the same plane. So no, I think that's all great. I mean, so yeah, I definitely like that analogy. And I think that just reframes, of course, now I'm sitting here and I so badly want to be sitting here typing notes, but thank God we're recording because I'll come back and listen. And like, I'm probably going to spend a week just trying to figure out how to make changes in my firm to make things better, not only for me, but looking at outcomes, it's improving my firm for the client. So all of our listeners, we have, law firm owners, they can improve their business and it's improving not only their life because their business can be less dependent on them, but it's improving for the clients as well. Like reducing friction. A big thing for me is I try to reduce friction, like with payments. You send out an invoice and I want the client to be able to click a button and they just pay online. Like, no, don't write a check. Because I've had, not so much now, but I've had law firms in the past that are like, I will not take credit cards. I don't want to pay the 3% fee to process the card. And I'm sitting there like, well, hell, but you're paying me to sit and do the bookkeeping. So I got to then get the check out of the
Outstanding it.
mail,
Yep.
open the envelope. I have to manually post the payment in the account. I have to go to the bank. You're paying me to do that. I pay the 3%. Do it online. So I like the frictionless, I'm trying to make things less friction. But it's always been a result of there's friction and now I need to fix it. I like the idea of starting, I want this to happen and then work backwards. So I like how you reframe that for me. So, oh my gosh. Okay. So we've talked about a ton of different things. And so how would so if somebody listening and they're like, oh my God, everything you just hit on, like the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up and I need help. How would people reach out to you, Jason?
So the easiest way is to just go to dependencydesign.com, and I've got a free book. You can download it. It's a PDF, minute read, and it's essentially an intro to what we're talking about here. And if you like it, there's there's a book too that you can go deeper and sort of like how. But the first books are really light read, and I make it available for free for everybody. So if any of this resonates, you can just go check it out there.
Oh, that's awesome. And then I'll put in the show notes, we'll make sure that we link, I've got links to your socials, but we'll put the link to your website into the book because I mean, this is all good stuff. And, like I said, as a CFO, I feel like I touch on every single thing in a business because everything ties back to money, but I'm not the best at, at all the stuff. Like I know money. I
Yeah.
can tell you if you hire somebody, it costs you money. I can tell you how much you can afford to hire, but it's the teaching, it's the operations part that is like that sometimes gets lost on me. And so I just love this conversation today. And I really appreciate your time on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Kelly. I appreciate it. It's been a wonderful conversation, and I'm really happy that you had me on the show.
If you are listening to this podcast episode and you're thinking, I know I need to understand my numbers in my law firm better, but I'm just not ready for CFO support. That's exactly why I created a program called Profit Strong 90. Now, Profit Strong 90 is a structured 90-day course designed specifically for law firm owners who want financial clarity without the overwhelm. So inside this course, you're going to learn how to understand your profit and loss without feeling intimidated, identify where profit is leaking from your firm, improve cash flow predictability, build financial habits that support long-term growth, and make better decisions using real data instead of gut instincts. Now, this isn't theory. It is practical step-by-step guidance built around how law firms actually operate. If you want to feel more confident looking at your numbers, if you want to stop guessing, and if you want to build a stronger financial foundation for your law firm, I can't make this any better of an offer. It's free. Click the link in the show notes below to join Profit Strong 90. This is where clarity starts for you.